All right, welcome again to News Express this Monday morning. Of course, exclusively brought to you by Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. Another beautiful week to give you every single thing that I have right here on Business AM for the week. Now, top in the front page, renewable. Nigeria, Africa offer enormous opportunities in green growth as EU-Africa Forum. And yes, we're going to get the outcome of that particular meeting and how it went down when I bring in the publisher Business AM. But then again, still in that headline, recovery inherent in energy transition, climate smart crops, climate resilient infrastructure worth $230 billion. That one's the very first headline on Business AM this morning. And underneath that headline, Nigeria, once investors' beautiful bride, losing global attraction. That's not funny. I just love, how very poetic these headlines can be sometimes. And yes, that is the truth of the matter right now. Just last week, we were talking about how Twitter decided to headquarter in Ghana, and as if that was not enough, we had Amazon, Hyundai, we had Kia looking to South Africa and Ghana after that very big move by Twitter. Well, on this headline, we have this one here. Oil majors also plan exit due to stringent operating environment. Is this something we're going to see continue in Nigeria? Are we going to keep losing big catches like this? Or will something be done? Well, we'll wait and see. In the summary section, Africa's capital outflows put at $5 billion. And the finance and investment segment, external reserves come up for air. That's on page 10. Company and business, we have this one, Agbaje driving GT Bank to 1.3 trillion naira. That's on page 26. Over to the insurance and business segment now. Insurers transforming digitally how? Check it out on page 14 of the paper. And I'll move all the way to commodities and agriculture, sesame seed export and exploitation. What's going on in that space? Well, catch that on page 20 of Business AM this morning. Well, I've got the publisher Business AM, Philip Isakwa, joining me for conversations. Good morning, Mr. Philip. Good to have you on the show again.
Good morning, Rachel. Good to be here as always. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How was your weekend?
Very good, thank you.
All right.
Sunshine.
All right, yes, let's start with the very first headline now. The EU-Africa Forum, which has ended. Tell us more about the outcome of that meeting.
Okay, now I think this has to do with the attention that has been placed on, again, climate change situation, which means that a lot of attention is paying to green issues and wanting. So we're talking about this green movement, and then EU, Africa coming together. The major players in this direction. You have the African Development Bank and the EU network. Meeting to discuss a whole range of issues. Green Africa has always been believed, especially because the African Development Bank has been pressing hard on it. It's with abundant solar, wind, hydro, and geothermal energy resources. Africa's energy transition alone presents a $100 billion per year investment opportunities. So that's Akinwumi Adesina speaking at the forum, in Portugal. And I think they're coming together and look at how the pursuit of green growth. When we talk about green growth, we talk about climate change and how to prevent the certain effect of climate impact on both the world generally. But there have been for some time a focus on Africa. How Africa can join, in the global debate around around climate change. So they are looking at Africa and seeing how they can help, So they talk about climate resilient infrastructure, what $30 billion, and how all that can be energized, to make it a reality. So it's about pushing in the direction of green growth, and all the investments that are that are required to make that possible, and how the funding can be sourced. We talk about agriculture potentially offers massive investments, in climate smart crops. So the EU and Africa top people came together, to see how funding is particularly about funding, how funding can be driven in the direction, of the green growth movement, in Africa, particularly in the area of agriculture, but again in the area of energy, and especially solar energy and wind energy, all of which they say, it's abundant in Africa, and how that can be done. It's about harnessing all of this, but basically it's also about how the funding can be sourced, to be able to drive the investment that is required, to make this possible. So that's what the meeting was about, and they spoke on different areas, and they're seeing how they can come together to make this a reality for Africa.
Right. All right, let's move to this other conversation. Now, I know we've talked about this before. I mean, the last time we spoke, it was a part of our conversation. I mean, the Minister for Trade and Investment in Ghana has already come out to say, plans are currently underway by the automobile giants. We have Hyundai, we have Kia Motors. They're going to establish in Ghana. And we see all of these big companies looking away from Nigeria. And of course, there are media reports right now that several multinational companies are seeking to exit Nigeria. What is happening to this very big giant, this very big tech giant? And we have all these companies looking away at this point. What is the fate of Nigeria and the economic space?
Rachel, we talked about this last week. We scratched it on the surface. We did not see Hyundai and Kia coming, almost immediately. Amazon, Hyundai, they will call it Kia, and after Twitter's move, now with looking at even oil majors, we understand that Mobil is downscaling the Shell. Of course, Shell left a lot of onshore investment a long time ago. And but it's particularly, what used to be the expectation that was placed on Nigeria, representing, especially with the population, especially with the size of the economy, being the biggest economy in Africa at $450 or plus $1 billion in size, with potential to even do much more than that. A lot has always rested on the potential that Nigeria holds, not only in Africa, but in the global space. It's just that things have not worked out well. And in the last few years, going 5, 6, or 7, 8 years, things haven't really gelled properly. I recall that in the early 20s, so let's put it not even early, mid 20s, 2007, 2008, 2009, the global consulting firm McKinsey did a big report, on Africa Rising, and the focus on Nigeria was in the area of the expanding middle class. It was that middle class that led to a big push, a big focus on Nigeria, coming from different parts of the world, and people began to look in at and believe that things could happen here. Yeah. Recall, Rachel, that there was a big push, when they began to talk about the BRICS. The BRICS, Nigeria was in the not exactly in the BRICS, but the second one that came up. Nigeria was supposed to be among the BRICS anyway. But somehow it did not manage to get in, but got into the second group that came up, that includes Turkey and a few others like that. But so this potential, is what people have seen globally, and made Nigeria a beautiful bride to investors, and we expected that to happen, but things have really, gone south. And these people, the international or global businesses are saying they still want to come to Africa. Africa is still a good place to do business. They describe Africa as being the virgin part of the world for investment. So they are looking into coming. The population is huge. But where do they cite their operational base? And that's where Nigeria has been losing out because of the different issues that it has not been able to deal with. Now, of course, these issues. We can look at security issues. I told you last time when we were discussing this matter that even when you have some top security challenges, some businesses still looking to go in if there are things to be extracted. But you also have to look at the regulatory part of it, the behavior of government towards investment, both locally, what they do to local people. Recall, Rachel, this is where Gokada came in, this is where, OPE came in, and, everything was going smoothly. And then all of a sudden you had a tumbling of policies, lack of consultation, with business. I've always said, Rachel, that there seems to be a huge divide between the public sector or government understanding and of business, and then the private sector understanding of what should be done. There seems to be mutual between the two. They fight over nothing, when they're supposed to collaborate and see how the economy can be expanded, to accommodate quite a lot of things. There are so many areas, that haven't been scratched at all, and you need international money to be able to do this effectively. Tourism hasn't been scratched at all. Of course, having security, that will hinder that, but they need to be focused on how do you get international and global investors to look into Nigeria without having issues. You have all sorts of problems there, that have been created, by the way regulations have come in, the way you are not certain about so many things. You have those things need to be tackled. You talk about ease of doing business. If you look at the report actually points to what international investors will look at, and then decide that this is not a place to come to, if not forever, but at least at this time. So if you look at the World Bank International Ease of Doing Business report, you will find that we haven't really been doing really great in that direction. But recall, Rachel, that when this government came into place, it tried to do something about it. There were some quangos that were set up, especially with the former trade and investment minister, Elakam, I recall, did try to put some things together in terms of trying to show up Nigeria competitiveness, So there's a competitiveness council, that just came up, and then nothing has been heard of it, as at now. Recall that there was one a smart woman in the office of the vice president who was heading that competitiveness committee or council, but nothing has been heard of that committee up to now, So investors, international investors, of course, will be looking at this and be looking at how the government is reacting, how government is responding to all sorts of issues, you just have to be skeptical, when you deal with when the economic environment is unstable.
Yes.
That's really a worrying factor for international investors. And that's what's happening to Nigeria at the moment.
All right, let's move into some other maybe good news, really. On page 12 of the paper, talking about the equities market last week did well. We saw a bounce back in that space. And of course, we owe it to, the positive earnings releases that we saw as well. Aside this, is there anything else that, boosted the market? Yes,
the equities, what's it called? The numbers are coming out. The earnings, quarterly earnings season is here. You know, especially coming from the I think the likes of GT, the likes of I think UBA and the banking sector. You know, have come up. You know, but besides that, is what you, I think a lot of things happening globally. You know, in terms of the COVID situation. You know, looking more positive. Of course, we have the bad case happening in India at the moment. You know, but there has been some what you call a positive reaction. You know, to the earnings. Fidelity Bank, MTN. You know, and the rest of them. You know, who have come up with their GT Bank, Zenith Bank. You know, who have come up with good numbers. You know, so. Besides of course, investors will react and position themselves once these releases are coming out, you know. And of course, when you have this season coming up, that's majorly the how investors will they react, you know. And the analysts are anticipating that this week will be bullish as well, you know, as more of the results come in, you know, and typically investors just position themselves, you know, to be part of the what you call what's it called, dividend, whatever earnings that will be paid out, you know, at this time.
All right. So what's your outlook for this week?
Yeah, it's a bullish outlook. You know, this week it's looking bullish from what we are seeing so far. Like they say, the market never sleeps. Is what one analyst firm described it. You know, so you expect that it will be bullish, you know, in terms of more results coming in, you know, this week.
Okay.
So it's a positive. It will be positive, you know. We talked about last week that there was a petering out, you know, in the market, you know, but with the bounce back, we expect it to continue, you know, until the earnings season is over.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Philip, for dishing out all of this to us. We'll get back to you on Friday for the weekend edition of News Express. And welcome back to Nigeria, by the way.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a nice week. Bye for now. That was Philip Isapa, the publisher, Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. The Breakfast Connect continues in a moment. Stay here.